In Vithalwadi, a locality in Kalyan, Maharashtra, Jagdish Salunke shared a flat with his older brother, Kanchan Salunke, is family in flat number 9 of the Yashwant apartments, directly across from the Durga temple. Jagdish Salunke used to work in a company. He was married to a gorgeous and ambitious girl, Vishali Thackeray. After the marriage, Jagdish Salunke left his brother's house and obtained a rented flat in the same community, and started living with his wife, Vishali. But then, abruptly, on March 6, 2019, around 11 p.m., Vishali contacted Jagdish Salunke's maternal uncle Nandlal, who resided nearby. "Uncle, a massive theft has taken place in our house, and the miscreants have also killed Jagdish." Vishali remarked, "Uncle, please come to our house soon." She was quite nervous about all this. After hearing of Jagdish's death, Nandlal's senses were blown away. But nevertheless, Nandlal gently told Vishali that he was visiting her house quickly. Since his nephew Kanchan Salunke, Jagdish's elder brother, also resided near Nandlal's house, Nandlal notified Kanchan Salunke about Jagdish's murder. He and his maternal uncle arrived at the scene as soon as he learned of his brother's passing, and word immediately traveled around the neighborhood. A large number of Jagdish Salunke's friends, acquaintances, and family members gathered outside his house, and when they peered inside, they noticed that he was laying on the bed. Concurrently, Jagdish Salunke's wife Shali was clutching to his body while sobbing loudly, and the house was in a state of complete disarray. With the assistance of their neighbors, Kanchan Salunke, Jagdish's brother, and Nandlal, Vishali's maternal uncle, removed him from Jagdish and drove him to a local clinic in their car. They then requested that he transport Jagdish to a different medical facility. After this, they transported Jagdish to another hospital, but even there they were dissatisfied, for the physicians there also saw Jag Salunke's condition and recommended him to Rukmini Bai Hospital. As soon as he arrived at Rukmini Bai Hospital, physicians pronounced him dead. The hospital also alerted the police control room about the occurrence. As soon as the information was received, the police and fire brigade of the concerned police station approached the area. Additionally, he had communicated the occurrence to the highest-ranking officials. Upon arriving at the hospital, he began questioning the deceased's relatives when the attention of the police officers abruptly shifted to Jagdish's body. They observed something on his body that made them quickly comprehend that it was not a case of stealing. After consulting to the physicians, the police officers sent Jagdish Salunke's body to Mohari for post-mortem. After this, the cops soon reached the location. Police reached the area after the event and is investigating the case. After returning to the police station, when the police thought seriously about the case, they witnessed numerous ups and downs in the chain of theft and murder of Jagdish Salunke. This was not at all what had been reported. Therefore, the statement of Jagdish Salunke's wife, Vishali, was vital to get to the bottom of the situation, but he was not in a position to speak at that moment. Therefore, Senior PI Shahu Rajay invited Vishali to the police station the next day for questioning and handed over the investigation of the case to PI Madhukar and Sunita Rajput. In her statement, Vishali added that there was no vegetable to cook in the house. She notified her husband, Jagdish Salunke, over the phone, but he forgot to bring vegetables when returning from work and arrived home empty-handed. Due to which, Vishali herself went to the market. However, when she came back to her house after returning from the market, she was surprised to see the condition of the house. And when she ran to her husband Jagdish, he was laying unconscious. Seeing this, all are startled. All her wedding jewelry was also stolen. And when she could not comprehend anything, she conveyed all the facts to her husband's maternal uncle, Nandlal Sauda, on the phone. Jagdish and Vishali's marriage was not even 3 months old when Jagdish suddenly died. The police subsequently registered a case of murder against unknown persons and started investigations. But when Jagdish's post-mortem report came, the police's suspicion went directly on Vaishali. That is, now directly Vaishali had come on the radar of the police. After this, the police also questioned the family members of Jagdish Salunke due to suspicion on his wife. Jagdish's family members said his death was a deep-rooted conspiracy. According to the testimony of the family, Vaishali and Jagdish were married, but Vaishali was not satisfied with her marriage. She had declined to marry Jagdish Salunke thrice before her marriage. Vaishali had to do this marriage due to strong pressure from her family. After this, when the police team questioned Vaishali again to know the truth of all these things, at first he attempted a lot to deflect the police. But then, Vaishali got caught in the circle of the police's interrogation in such a way that he ultimately confessed to his crime. But now the question is, why did Vaishali kill her husband Jagdish so brutally? Friends, now listen to this occurrence carefully from here, and especially the lads must listen, so that again, no one grabs the life of any Jagdish by becoming Vaishali. Actually, 23-year-old Jagdish was a gorgeous boy. He initially belonged to Raver Taluka of Jalgaon district. His father, Gokul Salunke, was a simple man. He had a tiny piece of land in the village. Apart from this, he also owned a haircutting shop in Raver. His family includes wife and 2 children. The elder son, Kanchan Salunke, was married and lived with his wife in a suburb of Kalyan in Maharashtra, while the younger son, Jagdish Salunke, was studying at the time. Gokul Salunke was running his family from his blacksmith shop. Jagdish's parents had a desire that their younger son would stay with them and manage the chores of the house, but that did not materialize. Because after completing his schooling, Jagdish's heart did not feel in the village, so he opted to stay in the city. He moved to the city and started living with his elder brother Kanchan Salunke and sister-in-law. He quickly found a job in a pharmaceutical business in Ambernath. When Jagdish started working, the family started thinking about his marriage. When Jagdish's father, Gokul Salunke, alerted his relatives and acquaintances about his son's marriage, the relationship of Vaishali Thackeray of the Thackeray family living in Malad came for Jagdish. 22-year-old Vaishali Thackeray was the sole daughter in her family. His father had died. His mother and sister were only present in the house. Since the entire duty of the house was on the shoulders of Vaishali's brother, Satish Thackeray, she had not married yet. As lovely as her sister Vaishali was, she was equally fun and happy. So Jagdish liked her at first sight. Vaishali's family also enjoyed this relationship very lot. At the same time, his previous familial ties also came out. Therefore, the Thackeray family sought to get Vaishali married as quickly as possible. After Jagdish Salunke and Vaishali Thackeray saw and liked each other, the 2 families and their relatives got Vaishali and Jagdish Salunke engaged. A wedding date was also arranged because in today's time, many see engagement as half of marriage and offer free rein to their offspring. Both the boy and the girl start conversing as well as meeting and moving around together. The same thing happened with Vaishali and Jagdish Salunke. Vaishali and Jagdish had also started meeting and talking to one another. This carried on for about 6.5 months, while Jagdish Salunke was quite thrilled when his marriage was fixed with Vaishali. Azad Khayal Vaishali got bored with Jagdish Salunke within 6 months, because Vaishali did not want a simple lad, but she wanted a model and intellectual husband who would follow her gestures and satisfy all her demands. So 20 days before the wedding, Vaishali called Jagdish Salunke to the Dadar railway station in Mumbai and told Jagdish with a sorrowful heart that she did not want to marry him. "Because we don't see each other. Even if we get married, we would never be happy. It is best that you refuse this marriage." Hearing Vaishali Thackeray's words, the ground slipped from under Jagdish's feet. And the reason was that her family had done all the arrangements for the wedding, and the wedding cards were also mailed to all the relatives. When Jagdish tried to convey the same to Vaishali, she threatened Jagdish that she would commit suicide by eating poison if her marriage was forced, and then he can figure out what's going on. Vaishali's warning worried Jagdish. He notified his family members about this. After this, when the news of all these things came to Vaishali's family, they also came into problems. He took her hand in his. Under persuasion from her family, Vaishali accepted her mistake and consented to marry Jagdish. But now, Jagdish's family did not accept Vaishali's words. They had agreed to the marriage on the request of Vaishali's family members, but they had plainly said that if Vaishali did any incorrect decision in the future, they would not be liable. For this, Jagdish's family had produced a second assurance and apology letter and kept it with them. After this, they started preparing for the wedding. Under pressure from the family, Vaishali ultimately decided to marry Jagdish. Although there was still confusion in her mind about Jagdish Salunki, she could not accept Jagdish Salunki as her spouse, and it was the reason why Vaishali was procrastinating for her marriage. 8 days before the wedding, Vaishali called Jagdish to a hotel and again rehashed the same old things and stated that she does not want to get married so soon since she has to finish a beautician's course. By finishing the course, she will first build her profession and then consider about marriage. He told Jagdish to postpone the wedding date till then. "When my work is done, then we can get married whenever." Here, Jagdish became angry on hearing the comments of Vaishali. This time, Jagdish Salunki did not try to convince Vaishali, but she remarked in a severe tone, "Why don't you explain this to your family members yourself?" Jagdish was enraged and left the place. This attitude of Jagdish Salunki also enraged Vaishali. He decided he had to do something to fix this dilemma. Even after leaving home, she remained thinking about it all night, changing her ways. And then till dawn, the solution she found to her dilemma was quite perilous. On the other hand, Vaishali and Jagdish were pleased about Salunki's wedding as Vaishali was getting married. His friends and relatives were thrilled about it. They were all pressing Vaishali to offer the bachelor party of the marriage, and Vaishali was evading them by calling them nowadays. But then suddenly, Vaishali organized a little party at her residence 3-4 days before the wedding, and Jagdish was specially invited to this celebration. On the invitation of Vaishali, Jagdish came to the party, but he did not like the celebration. Well, on the way back home, Vaishali kindly made a tiffin for Jagdish and urged him to come home and eat. But Jagdish did not eat that tiffin since when he opened the tiffin after arriving home, it had a weird fragrance, due to which Jagdish did not consume that food. He threw away the food. Vaishali said that he had cleverly laced poison in the dish. But Jagdish had survived that day too. And ultimately, on December 29, 2018, Vaishali Thackeray and Jagdish Salunki got married with considerable fanfare. After the wedding, both of them headed to the hill station for a walk. Jagdish Salunki was extremely delighted with this marriage, and he had forgotten all the secrets of Vaishali. But Vaishali was not at all satisfied with this marriage. He had made only one arrangement in the name of marriage. As time went on, his conduct began to shift. She started fighting with Jagdish and his family over the subject, due to which Jagdish's family members recommended her to stay away. At the insistence of the family members, Jagdish took an apartment on rent in the same colony and started living with Vaishali. That's what he wanted too. Vaishali did not need a householder so that no one would stop her. After coming to the new residence, she was entirely free. He had been talking on the phone all day, and when Jagdish objected to this, she used to quarrel with him. Things did not move forward. Thus Jagdish Salunki himself used to keep silent. Although many enjoy their married life with laughter and happiness after marriage, but how long can a relationship whose foundation has been placed on sand last? And the same thing happened with Jagdish Salunke. Not even 3 months had elapsed since her marriage, that the road picked by Vaishali for her freedom used to open straight in the dungeon of the jail. Well, Vaishali was extremely happy on the day of the incident. He spoke affectionately to Jagdish, who had returned from work, and added rat poison to his food as per his plan. After having dinner here, when Jagdish retired to his bed to sleep, his mind started growing restless. Before Jagdish could get up and go to the bathroom, Vaishali strangled him with full power by placing a nylon rope around his neck. And when Vaishali was certain that her husband was dead, she called Jagdish's maternal uncle Nandlal Sauda, pretending to be grieving. Vaishali attempted hard to mislead the family and the authorities, but she did not succeed. In the attempt to obtain independence from the bind of marriage, Vaishali has now fallen into a ditch from which it is no longer feasible for her to climb out. But now the question is that when the family members of both Vaishali and Jagdish had come to know that Vaishali did not want to marry Jagdish, then they should not have had this relationship. Vaishali had allegedly threatened to take poison before the wedding, and they should have recognized then that a girl who threatens to kill herself may do anything. It can kill anyone, and that's ultimately what happened. Bihara Jagdish Bemut was killed owing to Vaishali's free choice and determination on not getting married. Based on her confession, the police launched a case of murder under Section 302 of the Indian Penal Code and hauled her before a court, which condemned her to jail. Friends, the objective of describing this occurrence is not to break anyone's heart. You don't have to upset anyone, but you have to generate awareness. You need to be aware. Friends, what is your opinion regarding this whole incident? Tell us in the comment box. And if you like this video, share it with us. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to our channel. Thanking you.